If you think like this, you'll never lose again. Lesson 1. The magic of thinking deliberately. The greatest power you possess, right now, in this very moment, is your ability to think deliberately. Most folks drift through life like leaves on a stream, carried by currents they never chose, ending up at destinations they never selected. But not you, not anymore. Let me share something remarkable with you, my friend. Your mind is the most sophisticated instrument in the known universe. And yet, how many of us operate this magnificent machine on automatic? We wake up, brush our teeth, drive to work, and respond to life's challenges with the same thoughts we had yesterday, and the day before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. This automatic thinking, this mental autopilot, is the dividing line between those who merely exist and those who truly live, between those who accept whatever life hands them and those who create exactly what they desire. Here's the shocking truth that changed my life decades ago. Your thoughts literally create your reality. Everything you see around you, your job, your relationships, your bank account, your health, began as a thought. First in mind, then in reality. That's the sequence. Always. I call this the river principle. You see, you cannot simply step into success like stepping onto a bus. Success isn't a destination you arrive at suddenly. Rather, you must float toward it, carried by the current of your dominant thoughts, just as a river flows inevitably toward the sea. The good news, you control the direction of that flow, starting today. Let me give you a simple exercise I've taught to thousands of success-minded individuals, the 5-minute thought direction practice. Each morning, before your feet touch the floor, spend 5 minutes directing your thoughts deliberately toward what you want to create, not what you fear, not what you're trying to avoid. Focus only on what you want to bring into existence. Picture it vividly. Feel the emotions of already having it. Speak words that align with its reality. This isn't wishful thinking. It's mental creation, the first and most crucial step in physical manifestation. Any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn. That's not just a nice idea. It's law. Universal, unchanging law. The farmer who plants corn must harvest corn. The person who plants positive, deliberate thoughts must harvest their equivalent in physical form. Most people never discover this magic because they never direct their thinking. Their thoughts run wild like untamed horses, carrying them toward outcomes they would never consciously choose. Not you. Starting today, you're taking the reins of your mental life. You're moving from automatic to deliberate thinking, from drifting to directing, from accepting to creating. Remember, this isn't complicated, but it must be consistent. 5 minutes of deliberate thought direction each morning will accomplish more than hours of random thinking throughout your day. Your new life of purpose, achievement, and fulfillment begins with this simple shift. Think deliberately about what you want, not randomly about whatever happens to cross your mind. Master this first principle, and you truly will never lose again. Lesson 2. One idea can change everything. Throughout human history, single ideas have transformed not just individual lives, but entire civilizations. The wheel, the printing press, the light bulb. Each began as a single thought in a single thought, in a single thought in a single mind. And that is the extraordinary power you possess at this very moment. Consider the humble paperclip. Before 1899, papers were held together with straight pins, string, or wax. Then Johann Valler had a simple idea: bend a piece of wire into a double oval. That single idea created an industry that produces over 11 billion paperclips annually. One idea changed everything. But here's the painful truth. Most million-dollar ideas die before implementation. They perish in the cemetery of someday and if only. They wither under the harsh judgment of self-doubt or evaporate in the busy distractions of daily life. The tragedy isn't in lacking great ideas. It's in failing to protect them. What separates those who transform ideas into reality from those who merely dream? The answer is surprisingly simple: focused attention over time. I call this the 30-day idea incubation method. Just as a mother hen sits faithfully on her eggs, you must give your idea consistent warmth and protection during its vulnerable, early stages. Take Martha, a schoolteacher from Ohio. She noticed her students struggled to organize their homework assignments. Her idea wasn't revolutionary, a specially designed student planner with color-coded sections, but unlike others who might have dismissed it as too simple, Martha protected her idea. For 30 consecutive days, she spent 15 minutes developing it further. She refined the design, researched production costs, and tested prototypes with her students. Today, her planners sell in thousands of schools nationwide. Or consider Robert, a factory worker who noticed inefficiency in how materials moved through his plant. His idea saved his company millions and earned him a promotion and bonus that changed his family's financial future forever. The difference: he didn't just have the idea, he protected it, developed it, and presented it with conviction. Your mind generates brilliant ideas regularly, but like seedlings in a forest, most are trampled before they can grow. Your one big idea, the one that could change everything, might have already visited you. Perhaps it came as a passing thought while driving, a solution glimpsed just before falling asleep, or an insight during a conversation. Starting today, carry a small notebook everywhere. When an idea appears, write it down immediately. Then ask yourself, which one of these ideas, if fully developed, could most transform my life? That becomes your focus for the next 30 days. Give it 15 minutes of undistracted attention daily. Consider its applications, refine its rough edges, research its potential, and imagine its implementation. This consistent focus creates an incubation chamber where fragile ideas can develop protective shells. Remember, you don't need 100 ideas. You need one idea, fully developed and boldly implemented. One idea can indeed change everything, but only if you protect it long enough to let it change you first. Lesson 3. You become what you think about. The most powerful law in the universe is also the simplest to understand, yet the hardest for most people to consistently apply. It's the law of cause and effect as it relates to human thought, and it works with the precision of mathematics. What you are experiencing in your life right now, your job, your bank account, your relationships, your health, all started as thoughts in your mind. Think about that for a moment. Everything in your world began first as an idea. I've studied the lives of successful men and women for decades, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that they all share one common trait. They carefully guard what they allow into their minds. They understand that thoughts are things, powerful things that shape destinies. Your subconscious mind works like a faithful tape recorder. It doesn't judge what you feed it. It simply accepts and acts upon your dominant thoughts. Whether you fill it with thoughts of success or failure, wealth or poverty, happiness or misery, your subconscious will work tirelessly to bring those thoughts into reality. Many people spend their lives wondering why things never seem to improve. They hope for better circumstances while feeding their minds a steady diet of doubt, worry, and negativity. They don't realize they're programming themselves for the very outcomes they fear most. Here's a truth that might surprise you. It takes no more energy to think big than it does to think small. Your mind will work just as hard to achieve $1 million goal as it will to maintain your current situation. The difference is entirely in what you choose to think about most often. That's why I recommend the 6-hour rule for thought transformation. For 6 hours each day, whether consecutive or spread throughout your waking hours, discipline yourself to think only about what you want, never about what you don't want, never about what you don't want. At first, this will seem impossible. Your old thought patterns will fight to regain control, but persist, and within 30 days you'll experience a remarkable shift. Children understand this principle instinctively. Watch how they play pretend, fully immersing themselves in being astronauts, doctors, or explorers. They haven't yet learned to limit their thinking. We adults must recapture that natural ability to direct our thoughts with purpose and imagination. Begin today by conducting a daily thought inventory. 3 times each day, morning, noon, and evening. Pause for just 2 minutes to observe what you've been thinking about. Don't judge yourself. Simply notice. Are your thoughts aligned with your deepest desires? Or are they focused on fears, problems, and limitations? Remember, you become what you think about. This isn't mystical philosophy. It's practical psychology. The person who thinks confidently about solving problems becomes a problem solver. The person who thinks constantly about opportunities becomes opportunity-minded. Your mind is the most powerful tool you'll ever possess. Use it deliberately. Direct it purposefully. Feed it thoughts of the life you wish to create. Do this consistently, and you'll never lose again. Lesson 4. The success formula hidden in plain sight. Have you ever noticed how the truly successful people in our world seem to follow an invisible pattern? It's as if they've discovered a secret formula that the rest of us have somehow missed. And yet, this formula isn't locked away in some vault. It isn't reserved for the privileged few. It's hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to recognize it and put it into action. I've spent decades studying achievement, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that high performers in every field follow the same 6-step pattern. First, they define with crystal clarity what they truly want, not vague wishes, but specific, measurable outcomes. Second, they develop unshakable belief that they can achieve it. Third, they can achieve it. Third, they create detailed plans, breaking complex goals into manageable daily actions. Fourth, they take immediate and consistent action. Fifth, they persist through obstacles, making adjustments as needed. And sixth, they celebrate progress while maintaining focus on the ultimate goal. Now you might be thinking, Earl, that sounds simple enough. And you're right. The formula itself is straightforward. But here's what separates the achievers from the dreamers. Disciplined, consistent application of these principles day after day, regardless of circumstances or emotions. Consider the oak tree. When you look at a mighty oak, what you don't see are the thousands of days it spent slowly, imperceptibly growing. Each day's growth was tiny, possible to detect with the naked eye. Yet over time, these small daily growths compound into something magnificent. Your success works the same way. The myth of overnight success has damaged more potential than perhaps any other misconception. The actor who becomes a sudden star after 10 years of auditions. The writer whose first book becomes a bestseller after 5 unpublished manuscripts. The entrepreneur whose instant success came after 3 failed businesses. What appears sudden to observers is actually the visible result of invisible effort. Your personal achievement, blueprint, must become as routine as brushing your teeth. Each morning, review your goals. Break them down into the specific actions you'll take today. Each evening, track your progress and prepare for tomorrow. This simple system, practiced with religious consistency, will produce results that will astound you within 6 months. I recommend creating a weekly success habit tracking system. On a single sheet of paper, list the daily actions that will move you toward your goal. Each day, mark whether you completed these actions. This creates accountability and shows patterns in your behavior. When you see an entire week of consistent action, you'll feel a momentum that propels you forward. Remember, any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn. By following this success formula hiding in plain sight, you're not just changing your own life. You're not just changing your own life. You're creating value that serves others, and this service is the foundation of lasting achievement. The universe rewards those who solve problems and create value. The success formula is waiting for you. Not tomorrow, not when circumstances are perfect, but right now, exactly where you are, with exactly what you have. Take that first step today, and you'll never lose again. Lesson 5. Attitude. The magic key. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about a magical key that can unlock any door standing between you and success. This key costs nothing, yet its value is beyond calculation. Yet its impact can move mountains. I'm talking about your attitude, that special outlook you bring to every situation in life. Your attitude determines your altitude. I've seen this truth demonstrated thousands of times throughout my years of studying successful men and women. Two people may face identical circumstances. One rises magnificently to the occasion while the other crumbles under the pressure, The difference isn't their talent, resources, or connections. It's their attitude. Think of attitude as a mathematical equation. When you approach life with positive expectation, you activate a remarkable phenomenon. You begin noticing opportunities others miss. You attract people eager to help your journey. Your energy remains high even during challenges. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the practical mathematics of achievement. Problems visit everyone. The successful person, however, has developed the habit of viewing problems as opportunities in work clothes. When a setback arrives, they ask, "What can I learn here? How might this difficulty contain the seed of something valuable?" This perspective shift doesn't happen by accident. It comes from deliberate mental preparation. Take a moment to conduct an attitude audit in your life. Where are your energy drains? What thought patterns emerge when facing obstacles? Do you automatically expect good or bad outcomes? Your honest answers reveal the invisible ceiling you've placed on your potential achievement. The wonderful truth is that attitude isn't fixed at birth. You can reshape it through conscious effort. Just as surely as you can strengthen a muscle through exercise, start with your morning ritual. The first 30 minutes after waking program your mental outlook for the entire day. Fill this time with inspiration instead of distraction. Next, master your emotional reactions. Most people operate on autopilot, responding instantly to triggers without thought. The achiever creates a buffer between stimulus and response. When faced with disappointment, they pause before reacting. This small gap allows wisdom to enter the equation. Your attitude radiates outward, influencing everyone you encounter. Have you noticed how certain people energize a room merely by entering it? Others seem to drain the very oxygen from the atmosphere. This isn't mystical. It's the tangible power of attitude at work. I recommend a 7-day attitude reset protocol. For 1 week, consciously monitor every thought. When negativity appears, replace it immediately with its positive counterpart. Focus exclusively on what you want rather than what you fear. Speak about desired outcomes as if they're already approaching. This practice will feel awkward initially. All new habits do. But persist. Remember, friends, attitude isn't everything, but it's the foundation upon which everything else rests. The quality of your life follows the quality of your attitude. Guard it carefully, nurture it intentionally, and watch as previously closed doors begin swinging open before you. That's the magic key in action. Lesson 6. The acres of diamonds around you. Hello, my friend. I want to tell you an old story that changed countless lives over the years. A wealthy farmer in Africa heard tales of diamonds being discovered and fortunes made. Consumed by diamond fever, he sold his farm and spent years searching fruitlessly across the continent. Broke and despondent, he threw himself into a river. Meanwhile, the new owner of his farm discovered what turned out to be one of the largest diamond mines in history, right there on that very land. The moral: the first farmer had acres of diamonds beneath his feet, but was too busy looking elsewhere to notice. This isn't just a quaint story. It's the reality most people live every day. The greatest opportunities in your life aren't in some distant place or future time. They're right where you are now, hidden in plain sight. Why do 95% of people miss the opportunities surrounding them? It's a peculiar blindness that affects nearly everyone. We romanticize distant opportunities while ignoring the possibilities right under our noses. The grass always looks greener somewhere else because we're viewing someone else's lawn from a distance without seeing the weeds up close. I've traveled extensively, meeting successful people in every walk of life. The pattern is striking. Those who achieve remarkable things aren't always the most talented or educated. Rather, they possess what I call an opportunity radar, a heightened awareness of possibilities in their immediate environment. Consider Mrs. Wilson from Idaho, who noticed local farmers struggling to sell excess produce. She started a simple weekend market that grew into a regional distribution company. Or the mechanic in Tennessee who solved a common problem with truck engines and built a manufacturing enterprise around his simple innovation. Neither looked beyond their daily experience. They simply paid attention to what everyone else ignored. Developing your opportunity radar isn't complicated, but it requires deliberate practice. Start each morning asking, what opportunities exist in my life that I've been overlooking? Examine your job, skills, relationships, problems, and local community with fresh eyes. The very challenges that frustrate you contain hidden opportunities. That complaint you have about a product, perhaps you're the perfect person to create a better solution. The knowledge you take for granted might be extremely valuable to others. Your ordinary neighborhood contains needs waiting to be fulfilled by someone observant enough to notice. Remember this, fortune doesn't favor those who chase after it restlessly. It favors those with the wisdom to see value where others see nothing special. The acres of diamonds principle works because opportunities multiply when pursued with passion and persistence. Tonight, before sleep, I want you to think, the opportunity I seek is closer than I imagine. Tomorrow, approach your familiar world as if seeing it for the first time. Notice problems needing solutions. Spot inefficiencies awaiting improvement. Recognize needs not being adequately met. Your greatest opportunity isn't somewhere over the rainbow. It's right here, waiting for you to notice it. This is Earl Nightingale reminding you that the acres of diamonds you seek are beneath your feet at this very moment. Lesson 7. The Strangest Secret. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you today what I consider to be the strangest secret in the world. It's so strange, so mysterious, that it's hidden in plain sight. The secret is this: we become what we think about most of the time. This principle has been known throughout the ages. The great minds across history have discovered it, taught it, and lived by it. Yet somehow this powerful truth remains a secret to most people. They go through life never realizing that their thoughts are creating their reality with absolute precision. Your mind works like a sophisticated guidance system. Think of it as your personal success, Jeeps. Whatever coordinates you program into this system, your mind will work tirelessly to reach that destination. This is why people who constantly think about problems find more problems, while those who think about solutions discover opportunities everywhere they turn. Your subconscious mind doesn't judge or question the thoughts you feed it. Like rich soil, it simply accepts whatever seeds you plant and brings them to life. Plant seeds of doubt, worry, and limitation, and that's exactly what will grow. Plant seeds of possibility, abundance, and achievement, and watch as your life transforms before your eyes. Most folks never realize they're programming themselves for mediocrity or failure. They wake up worrying about bills, complain through lunch about their boss, and fall asleep fretting about the future. Is it any wonder they stay stuck in circumstances they claim to despise? The good news is that you can reprogram your mental computer starting today. Begin with a simple mental diet. Just as you wouldn't put low, grade fuel in a high-performance vehicle. Don't put negative, limiting thoughts into your magnificent mind. Don't put negative, limiting thoughts into your magnificent mind. Guard the entrance to your thoughts with iron discipline. For the next 30 days, I challenge you to think only about what you want, not what you fear. When you catch yourself dwelling on problems, immediately replace those thoughts with visions of solutions. When you find yourself criticizing, shift to appreciation. When worry appears, substitute it with expectation of good. This isn't merely positive thinking. It's strategic thought direction. The most successful people aren't necessarily the most educated or privileged. They're the ones who have discovered this strangest secret and applied it deliberately. Your thoughts are physical creations. They generate electrical impulses that set forces in motion. Scientists have proven that focused thought changes brain chemistry and neural pathways. When you direct your thinking toward specific outcomes, you literally rewire your brain for achievement. The quality of your life right now perfectly reflects your past thinking. If you want a different future, you must think different thoughts today. It's that simple and that profound. Take control of your mental factory. Stop manufacturing thoughts of limitation and start producing thoughts of possibility. Guard your mind as the precious resource it is. Feed it images of success, thoughts of contribution, and expectations of abundance. The strangest secret is waiting for you to apply it. Your life will never be the same once you truly understand that you become what you think about most. Lesson 8. Planting Seeds in the Magic Garden. Ladies and gentlemen, your mind is the most fertile soil on earth, capable of growing achievements beyond your wildest imagination. I've traveled across this great country speaking to thousands of people, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that the principles of mental gardening work with scientific precision. Think about it. The farmer understands something that most people miss entirely. When he plants corn seeds, he doesn't dig them up every day to check their progress. He knows with complete confidence that nature's laws will take care of the germination process. The seed must remain in darkness, protected and nurtured before it can break through to the light. Your ideas work exactly the same way. When you plant a thought of achievement in your mind, there's a necessary period of invisible growth. This is where most people fail. They plant the seed of a wonderful goal on Monday, but by Wednesday, seeing no visible progress, they dig it up, pronounce it dead, and discard it forever. Success takes time. The greater the achievement, the longer the germination period. I remember speaking with a gentleman in Chicago who had built a remarkable business from scratch. Earl, he told me. For the first 3 years, I wondered if I was wasting my time. Nothing seemed to be happening. Then suddenly, in year 4, everything bloomed at once. He understood the principle of mental gardening and protected his seedling idea through the critical growth phase. Your mind requires daily attention, just like any garden. You must pull the weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity before they choke your tender ideas. You must water your thoughts with consistent action and fertilize them with new knowledge. This is not complicated, but it requires diligence. The seasons of achievement follow the same pattern as nature. There's the spring of planting fresh ideas, the summer of growth and development, the autumn of harvesting results, and the winter of reflection and planning. Most people fail because they want to harvest in the same season they plant. They don't respect nature's timetable. A young boy once asked me how long it would take to become successful. I asked him, how long does it take an oak tree to grow? He didn't know the answer. I explained that an oak might take 30 years to reach maturity, but no one considers the oak tree a failure in year 10 or year 20. It's simply developing according to its nature. Your achievements will unfold according to their own natural schedule. The key is maintaining unwavering faith during the unseen growth period. Water your mental garden daily with positive thoughts. Protect your seedling ideas from the frost of criticism. Give them the sunshine of your focused attention. Remember, friends, the garden of your mind will produce exactly what you plant. No more, no less. Plant seeds of excellence, tend them with care, and trust the process. The harvest will come right on schedule, and when it does, you'll understand that success wasn't a matter of luck, but the perfectly natural result of properly planting seeds in the magic garden of your mind. Lesson 9. The 5 who think differently. Have you ever wondered why a small number of people achieve extraordinary results while the majority struggle to make ends meet? The answer lies not in circumstances, luck, or even talent, but in how they think. In my travels across this great country, speaking to thousands of ambitious men and women, I've observed a fascinating pattern. There exists a small group, roughly 5 of the population, who think in ways dramatically different from the crowd. This 5 consistently rise to the top of every profession, industry, and endeavor, not because they were born special, but because they've developed a particular habit of thought. The majority, the 95, think reactively. They respond to life as it happens, allowing external circumstances to dictate their course. They seek comfort over growth, security over adventure, and the known over the unknown. This is entirely natural, of course. Our brains are wired for safety, not achievement. But the 5 have trained themselves to think proactively. They view life as something they create rather than something that happens to them. When faced with a challenge, they immediately ask, "What can I do about this?" rather than "Why is this happening to me?" Consider how the 5 make decisions. While the majority make choices based on what's easy, comfortable, or expected, The successful minority make decisions based on their goals and values. They're willing to endure short-term discomfort for long-term gain. They understand that meaningful achievement rarely feels convenient at the moment of choice. The 5 also maintain different associations. They intentionally seek relationships with others who think similarly, people who encourage growth, challenge assumptions, and refuse to accept limitations. As Jim Rohn wisely noted, we become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. The 5 ensure those 5 people pull them upward. Perhaps most importantly, the 5 take full responsibility for their lives. They don't blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for their situations. They recognize that while they cannot control every event, they always control their response. This ownership mentality is the foundation of personal power. Now, I want to be clear. Joining this 5s is a choice available to anyone. It doesn't require special talents or advantages. It simply requires a decision to think differently, and the discipline to think differently, and the discipline to maintain that thought pattern until it becomes automatic. Begin by examining your typical responses to challenges. Do you look for someone to blame or something to do? Do you focus on what you can't control or what you can influence? Do your decisions reflect where you want to go or merely what feels comfortable now? Any person who consistently thinks like the 5s will eventually join their ranks. The doorway to this exclusive club remains open to all who choose to walk through it. The question is not whether you can think differently, but whether you will. Remember, friends, the way you think determines everything you become. Choose to think like the 5s, and you'll never lose again. Lesson 10, Turning Failures into Stepping Stones. Let me share something that may change your life forever. What if I told you that failure isn't your enemy but your greatest teacher? This is the profound truth that separates those who ultimately succeed from those who ultimately succeed from those who give up along the way. Most people see failure as a final verdict. They try something once, it doesn't work out, and they declare, "I'm not cut out for this." But the achievers of this world understand something remarkable. Every setback contains within it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. Consider Thomas Edison, who famously made over 10,000 attempts before successfully creating the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he simply stated, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This perspective transformed what others would call failures into valuable stepping stones. When you face a setback, your immediate reaction creates your future. Most people respond with discouragement, blame, or giving up. But what if you ask different questions? Instead of "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of "How could I have been so foolish?" ask, "How can I use this experience to grow stronger?" The 24-hour rule can change your relationship with failure forever. When you experience a setback, allow yourself exactly 24 hours to feel disappointed. Feel it fully. Don't suppress it. But when that clock runs out, it's time to extract the lesson and move forward with new wisdom. Every great achievement in history came after numerous setbacks. The Wright brothers crashed countless flying machines before creating successful flight. Abraham Lincoln lost 8 elections before becoming president. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter found a home. What made these people different wasn't talent or luck. It was their relationship with failure. They didn't see failure as a reflection of their worth or abilities. They saw it as information, feedback, and guidance. Start creating your personal resilience handbook today. After each setback, write down what happened, how you felt, what you learned, and most importantly, how you'll apply that lesson moving forward. This simple practice transforms failures from endpoints into starting points. Remember, any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn. Your setbacks are preparing you to contribute at a higher level. They're refining your approach, deepening your understanding, and strengthening your character. The next time you face a failure, smile knowingly. Say to yourself, "This is just part of my success story. This is making me stronger and wiser." Then extract the lesson, adjust your approach, and continue forward with confidence. The world makes way for the person who refuses to be defined by temporary failures. When you develop this mindset, seeing failures as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks, you'll discover the extraordinary truth: you never really lose again. Every experience becomes either a win or a lesson that prepares you for your next victory. Lesson 11. The Universal Law of Contribution. Good morning. This is Earl Nightingale. I'd like to talk to you today about one of the most powerful principles in the universe, a principle so fundamental that ignoring it virtually guarantees a life of frustration and lack. Here it is. Any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn. This isn't wishful thinking. It's not a nice idea or a pleasant philosophy. It's a law as certain as gravity. You cannot escape its effects any more than you can escape the need for oxygen. Look around you at the most successful people in any field. What sets them apart? Is it merely talent? Hardly. The world is filled with talented failures. Is it connections or luck? These may play small roles, but they're never the deciding factor. The true differentiator is this: successful people have discovered how to contribute significant value to others. They've aligned themselves with this universal law of contribution. Consider the farmer who plants seeds in spring. He doesn't immediately demand the harvest. He understands that by contributing to the soil, preparing it, nurturing it, protecting the young plants, he'll eventually reap his reward. The harvest comes not because he wishes for it, but because he has contributed meaningfully to the process of growth. So it is with your success. When you focus primarily on what you can get, you violate natural law. But when you concentrate on what you can give, on how you can solve problems, ease burdens, create joy, or add value, you align yourself with the very force that governs achievement. I've observed thousands of lives, and this pattern never fails. The insurance agent who genuinely protects families prospers more than the one merely chasing commissions. The teacher who transforms lives advances beyond the one who simply covers material. The business that truly serves its customers outperforms the one focused solely on profit. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't expect fair compensation. Quite the opposite. The universe abhors imbalance. If you contribute substantially without receiving in kind, you've created an imbalance that will eventually correct itself. Your task is to ensure you're positioning yourself to receive the natural return on your contributions. How can you apply this law today? First, stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" In every situation, with every person you meet, consider how you might contribute. Second, make your contributions significant. Small contributions yield small returns. Third, be patient. Like the farmer, understand that the harvest follows the planting in due time. Wealth, success, and fulfillment aren't things you pursue directly. They are byproducts, the natural results of living in harmony with this universal law of contribution. When you consistently contribute to the prosperity of others, prosperity must, by natural law, flow back to you. It has no choice. The universe operates on perfect balance. Apply this principle starting today. Make it your chief aim to contribute meaningfully wherever you go. Do this with persistence and genuine concern for others, and I promise you, you'll never lose again. Lesson 12. The Ultimate Secret of Prosperity. This is the last chapter of our journey together, and I'd like to leave you with the most powerful secret I've discovered in all my years of studying success and human achievement. It's a principle so profound yet so simple that most people miss it entirely. Any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn. Think about that statement for a moment. Let it sink deep into your consciousness. This is not wishful thinking or some mystical promise. It's a law as certain as gravity. When you fully grasp this principle, you'll never again worry about your place in the world or your ability to succeed. Consider the universe around us. Everything in nature operates on balance and exchange. The mighty oak tree that takes minerals from the soil returns them in the form of leaves and eventually its entire being. The bee that gathers nectar pollinates flowers in return. Nothing takes without giving. Nothing gives without receiving. This perfect equilibrium is the very foundation of existence. The same law operates in human affairs, though we often fail to recognize it. The marketplace rewards those who solve problems and fulfill needs. It has no prejudice or favorites. It has no prejudice or favorites. It simply responds to contribution. A doctor who heals the sick prospers. A farmer who grows food prospers. A teacher who educates minds prospers. Anyone who adds value to the lives of others finds that value returning in kind. Where most people go wrong is focusing primarily on what they can get rather than what they can give. They chase money directly instead of becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts it through service. Remember this. Money is simply a certificate of performance. It flows to those who perform valuable services that others need and want. I've interviewed countless successful men and women through the years, and I've never met a single truly prosperous person who wasn't providing exceptional value to others. Not one. The size of your prosperity will always be in direct proportion to the size and quality of your contribution. This means your primary focus should never be on receiving, but on becoming increasingly valuable. Ask yourself daily, how can I serve more people more effectively? How can I serve more people more effectively? How can I solve bigger problems? How can I add unique value that no one else is providing? When you direct your thinking this way, you align yourself with the fundamental laws of prosperity. You position yourself to receive because you first committed to giving. This is true abundance thinking, and it never fails to produce results. Don't worry about competition when you think this way. The world is hungry for people who can solve its problems. There will always be room for those who genuinely contribute. And don't fret about recognition or reward. They come automatically when your contribution is real. So as we conclude our time together, I challenge you to adopt this prosperity mindset permanently. See yourself as a giver first, not a taker. Focus on contribution rather than acquisition. Plant seeds of value everywhere you go. When you truly understand and live by this principle, that any person who contributes to prosperity must prosper in turn. You'll never lose again. This is the ultimate secret, and now it belongs to you.